want you to take my place.
I am Eobard Thawne.
You tell everyone who listen what you've seen.
Hi everybody, this is Quincy. I'm starting off first because I'm the one who wanted to do this episode, so I'm getting special treatment. Today's episode...
And he's a narcissist.
At that too. But today we're starting this episode because two great episodes just appeared in the CW universe of Flash and Arrow. And we wanted to comment on both of them because we're both fans of both shows, but we don't watch each other's shows. So it'd be a two dude perspective. One dude, the other dude.
Yeah.
My perspective being the Flash, his being the Arrow. I'd like for Kamen Rider to start first because he's well versed and ready to go than I am right now because I'm kind of exhausted from our early conversation on comic books.
Yeah, well, I myself and Quincy are huge fans of Batman. So when they introduced Ra's al Ghul, and yes, guys, it's Ra's, not Ra's al Ghul. So when they first introduced him, I'll say I was not impressed. But with this episode and the episode before it, they really supplanted that this is the true Ra's al Ghul, the way I'd want him to be done. And yes, I did love Liam Neeson's portrayal in the Nolan films. So I'm not complaining about that. This episode is where he really showed that he is Ra's. He kicked Nyssa out of the League of Shadows, not the League of Assassins, another rant, but... and he offered to Oliver to become the next Ra's al Ghul. And Oliver said, I'll think about it, so he let Malcolm Merlyn and Diggle go. And Oliver, he was thinking about it through the entire episode, and he said, you know what, I'm doing good as the Arrow. I don't need to be Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul. Now I'm doing it. I don't need to be that. But then Maseo goes to him, and he's like, things are already in motion. This was not a deal, this was a order, basically. So Ra's disguises himself as the Arrow, beats up a few thugs, and he goes to this guy shooting an arrow. I think it landed right in front of his hand, but it may have gone through, and he's like, tell the people what you have seen. And then the camera turns around and it's his face, and I think he pulls back the hood a little bit to reveal Ra's, and I'm just like, yes! That is exactly what Ra's al Ghul would do. He wouldn't leave such an important mission up to just one of his League members. He would physically do it. And he wouldn't just kidnap Oliver or kidnap Oliver's, sister or friends. He would make it so Oliver has no choice but to turn to him. And in that episode, they also revealed the Lazarus Pit. And it works exactly like it does in the comics. And he also said, the reason I need a new demon's head is because my body's getting old. This is one reason why I love Arrow. Ra's al Ghul obviously isn't a Batman, or isn't an Arrow villain, but they treat him with respect. And it totally fits in Arrow. It not only shows that the people who work on Arrow know how to make a good show, but how to be respectful to both source materials. It was fantastic. And now Quincy is going to talk about the Flash episode.
Well, if you're talking about good episodes, and this is a good TV show, and this has been a great first season for the Flash. He's not a well-known superhero, and people don't take him seriously if they do think about him. But it's created a good universe, good characters, and this felt like everything that the last 14 episodes have been trying to build up to really are the answers have been really well given, and the promises we've been given have been well met. But at the same time, we were given an alternate timeline now because the Flash can time travel. I'm gonna start over. But now we've been promised something even new, and this is something that only happens in certain sci-fi shows that can execute it well. Time travel, but not, to the dinosaurs, not to the president being shot. I'm talking a day ago. Because, believe it or not, traveling in time a day changes everything based on what you know, based on what you've experienced with a person. And getting to that, before the Barry managed to time travel, we had a whole bunch of answers given, and this is why I love this episode so much. There's so much in TV shows like this. Some people focus more on the characters, like say Smallville, and that's good. But they seldom meet that cross line where also the comic book characters and everything you're expecting meet at a meeting point. They seldom meet that, but they did, and they executed perfectly. First, they introduced Eobard Thawne. And I was so hyped because there had been speculation that he would be his own character, that he would have Eobard Thawne's identity, but or maybe he would look like Eobard Thawne, but he'd have someone else's motives. He'd have the powers of someone else. There has been a whole bunch of speculation, and now that has gone to rest. We have a cool villain portrayed by Tom Cavanaugh, I believe it's pronounced, and he is just so brilliant at pulling off this sinister character. And the fact that we have legitimacy to what the actual name is adds even more threat. If you know the character, you know there's a lot more to happen, because he doesn't just have a name. People just don't have a name. They have certain personalities, and people like him can be threats. And we have other villains coming up. They're going to be so great. But at the same time, we also got what's called the West Allen. The West Allen is the pairing between Iris West and Barry Allen. And people who don't read the comic books thought it was just going to be like their own little fanfics or whatever. No, this is an actual pairing, and they finally gave it to us. Unfortunately, it was during not in the circumstances we wanted. Speaking of, Flash shows himself off to his girlfriend. Not in the situation he wanted, but because he traveled back a day. Everything's been rewritten. One, we know that Eobard Thawne is capable of killing the ones we care about, him and the characters we care about. So maybe Flash can prevent that from happening. And we also know that Barry and Iris feel the same way about each other, but now they're in different circumstances, which brings out a whole different scenario because it creates drama and tension that we don't know where it's going. Because I know, based on the preview, that Eddie Thawne is going to become a killer, apparently, because I think he gets jealous of Barry and Iris. And which is interesting, because maybe that could add tension between the Flash and Barry, who, Eobard will know later on that is the Flash. So maybe there's this tension in the family at that point. So, there's now, we got answers, but now there's more speculation than ever. We're going to have Grodd. We're going to have... Our Captain Cold is so amazing. And so maybe we'll have villains team up on the Flash. We got Mark Hamill back as the Trickster. That's going to be cool. So we have so much in store, so much answered, and it's just a perfect meetup of both characters and comic book answers, and the Arrow and the Flash have proven that they can do both. And
they've also proven that even though the shows, at least from what I've seen, are very different in tone, they can still cross over and work in each other's universes.
Exactly.
So anyway, guys, thank you for listening to us rant. We hope you have a good time, and
if you like us talking about comic book stuff, we got a big podcast that's just coming up about us talking about the comic book universe.
Yeah, if we post this right, that will actually be before this one. But who knows with us?
Yeah.
This may be posted 3 months from now when it's no longer relevant.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.